As the years go on, your labor is being exploited more and more. We have seen an incredible increase in profits of major companies, yet wages are staying rather stagnant. The value of your labor is going down, but you continue to generate more money for the companies you work for. We are furthering unequal distribution of wealth. It is getting incredibly difficult for young generations to be able to afford to start their lives. This is why the minimum wage should be increased to keep up with inflation. Before I start, I believe it's crucial to emphasize that my goal in participating in these debates is to contribute in a meaningful and constructive way. I have brought forward well-researched and accurate information to support my arguments, aiming to establish credibility and trust among the participants. A lot of people fail to realize that it's extremely important for minimum wage to correlate with inflation, but why is this? Minimum wage is a concept that prevents companies from exploiting its laborers. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, the age group that works the most minimum wage is ages 16 to 24. How are these young people expected to get a start on their lives if the minimum wage is too low? They won't be able to afford college, they will not be able to afford a car, or to move out and start becoming independent. If this happens at such a large scale, we could see the repercussions a decade or two down the line. For starters, we'd see college institutions start losing massive amounts of money, as there would be significantly less students paying tuition. The colleges would not be able to simultaneously provide fair wages for its professors. We would not see new technology introduced so students could learn how to use them and further their learning. Even things like general maintenance might start to see a downturn, which would even further deter the youth from going to college. Colleges will become more ineffective over time with the loss of revenue. But would there be any economic shortcomings of this? Of course. The College Board calculates that high school graduates that don't pursue their education further are 40% more likely to be unemployed, earn a median of $24,900 less a year, and are 4 times more likely to be living in poverty than those who do pursue. If we see large rates of people earning less money, more commonly unemployed, and in poverty, we'd see a very unequal distribution of wealth. Now that are many consequences of this hypothetical unequal distribution, the International Monetary Fund, a global organization that works to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for all of its 190 member countries, says that excessive inequality can erode social cohesion, lead to political polarization, and lower economic growth. If we continue the trend of less and less people being able to afford college, we will see these issues in our lifetime. Another point to consider is that we would see a downturn in innovation. There are many consequences of this, but the most important would be inefficiently using our resources. We are all well aware that most developed countries are starting to make their switch towards a sustainable society. For example, the World Economic Forum just released a video showing Portugal running completely on renewable energy for 6 days. We are still a little ways away from achieving this in most countries, especially since Portugal's population is rather small, meaning less resources demanded, but a lack of innovation would further hinder this movement towards sustainable societies. We would be forced to continue our unsustainable practices. There'd be no new technology to replace them. BP, a company in the oil industry, predicts we will run out of fossil fuels just by the next century. To put that in perspective, our grandchildren, not our great-grandchildren, but our grandchildren, could be there to witness that. School is absolutely imperative to the development of societies. It existed for thousands of years and has been the main source of progression. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, innovation has skyrocketed. However, we have to correct a lot of the mistakes we made from this innovation. We are not living sustainably and will run out of resources. We are killing many environments, and the extinction rate has never been higher than before. Scientists predict that the sixth mass extinction event will be caused by humans. We are in a desperate need for rapid innovation more than ever before. Now, I understand that I just went on a pretty long tangent that seems to have nothing to do with minimum wage. However, let me tie it all back together. Having a minimum wage that doesn't support youthful generations going to college acts as sort of a butterfly effect. There are already higher rates of public skepticism for the need for higher education. From the Education Data Initiative, enrollment in college has declined 9.8% since 2010. This is just 13 years. If we see rising rates of inflation but steady rates of wages, enrollment rate will surely decrease. It is vitally important that minimum wage increases with inflation so the masses of the younger generation can afford higher education.